Stella, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. So good to see you all.
So there might be a little bit of a delay. Stella's having a little bit of delay with her connection. So we're going to see how that goes during the presentation. And so Stella, can you tell us one about yourself? Possibly.
Oops. Sometimes I just invent them without having them in front of me. I paint flowers only from in front of me live or from my head. I can never paint flowers from a picture because they're dead for me in the photograph. But I don't know. I do believe I extract from nature just symbols and trying to express my feelings about it.
Stella, do you have a favorite?
I love something Monet said, that he does not to paint the house or the bridge or the trees, but he likes to paint something that is between him and his subject. I thought that was the best set ever about painting. I use mostly arches. That is what I paint the most, but I love also Fabriano Artistico. Jan Min showed me Saunders Waterford, wonderful paper. I paint absolutely only 100% cotton paper.
Stella,
what was the question from Bob?
Stella, do you have a... Stella, do you have a favorite purple?
I have favorite purple. Yes, I love it. It's right here. Where is it? Cobalt violet purple. This favorite purple. But of course, I love to mix my purple also. I love to mix a lot of my colors, because when I mix them, I don't mix, but let them show. And when they I love of course moon glow. It wouldn't say it's purple, but it has blues and purples, and I love the granulation and when the colors split. But yes, that is my cobalt blue violet is my favorite purple.
So there's some connection issues today. So definitely the verbal part seems to work well. And if Stella's can't see Stella doing her demonstration, then we will also do another time with Stella. So I want to make sure she does such beautiful work that she has a chance to show us her beautiful work. So if we can't watch that today, we will do that at another time as well. So it could be next week that we have two artists, because I don't want to lose that.
Sorry for that.
No, that's kind of the world. You know, in America, we have right now all the children are going back to school, and you can tell when they're back in the classroom, all the lines just become really slow. So I think we're all experiencing that. We will persevere and find a way around it. That's not an issue. So if you're on Zoom and you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question. The speech part works very well. So Stella, how long, I personally have one of Stella's paintings and I love it. How long does it take you to do one of your paintings?
I get that question so very often, John. I paint very fast. It's really funny because I think I may have been ADD in my life. I may still be. I do everything very fast. I'm always in a hurry. I love to paint fast because I do believe I know more than I think. And when I paint fast, I much more express my real feelings than if I paint slow and overthink it and overanalyze it. So, and because I paint also plein air a lot, that me to paint fast. But I paint a painting mostly for 2.5 3 hours maximum, and then I'm exhausted. And when I get that question, John, I usually say that I paint my painting is 3 hours and 30 years.
3 hours and 30 years. I like that. And so when this question has been asked for many of the artists that have come on, when do you know your painting is done?
That is a hard question. I have to smack my hands and put them back. I like to leave my painting not fully finished. I like the viewer to be involved in the finishing of the painting. I want to evoke the viewer's imagination. So in that way, I make him participant and make him owning the painting instead of showing him everything. But of course, you know, I love Giovanni's and John Politti's and all this hyper realistic paintings also. So that, but that is just my way. That is, I do believe I like to experience that connection between me and the viewer, because I always tell them, whoever doesn't like their paintings, they cannot be their friends, because obviously they didn't connect, they didn't feel. So I believe painting is a communication. So I communicate my feelings to the viewer and expect that he will take part in that.
Stella, thank you. What are your favorite blues for skies?
Oh, I never have one blue for skies. I cannot understand how people can see only one color in the skies or anywhere. I don't know what is it wrong with me, but I see colors everywhere and too many. So I do use all 3 4 blues in my sky. Definitely cerulean, definitely cobalt, and ultramarine. I see yellow there, I see purple there, I see many colors in the sky. But definitely my 3 blues are included in all water and sky: cerulean, cobalt, and ultramarine.
Stella, do you have any favorite brushes, and what are the size brushes that you seem to use most?
Yeah, I expected the question, so I will show you brushes. Look at what I still have, John.
Oh my gosh.
I still have tons of Daniel Smith beautiful old brushes. Oh, did I freeze? No, I haven't. I have your old brushes from 12 all the way to, but big brushes I use. I have of course, I have a lot of Escoda beautiful brushes, and dear Angela gave me another one. So I have a lot of Escoda brushes. I love them. I use Herent brushes, which I also love. I have and Hakes. Oh, this is Herent also, a big one. Many brushes. I have tons of brushes. It's never enough to have another brush.
Stella, I had a question.
Go, Gabriel, go.
Oh, I was just wondering, how did
this
you
is
get reacquainted? How did you meet the Daniel Smith group, and how long have you been doing demos?
Oh, I do believe that that is how I started teaching. If anybody told me that I will be teaching art, I would have laughed, because I am a sport teacher and I get that question very often. How did I go from sport to teaching art? At the art center, we decided to do in Coopville classes for local people. And I said, I will teach them for a day. I love to make people start painting. And one day, dear Robert, this was in 2001, it's now 20 years, called me and said, would you like to give a demo at Daniel Smith? I said, oh my gosh, at that time, big time artists were giving demos. So I went and gave demo, and then I was invited to teach, and I have been doing this for the last 20 years. And I lived on Whidbey Island, which is very close south of Seattle. That is where I also left my heart. I love that area. Northwest is my place. That is how I met everybody, and wonderful, wonderful memories, which I will always cherish.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. What is your favorite subject to paint in your studio, and the favorite subject to paint plein air?
A plein air, I paint just wherever I sit and whatever I see, mostly landscapes and in boats. We were just in Greece with Jan Min, and we both are addicted to boats. I love boats. I grew up on the Black Sea, and when I was very little, one day my father took me to the sea, and before he knew it, I was in a boat rowing, and he was so worried about, and I had the greatest fun, and my sport was rowing. So I love water, I love boats. This is one of my favorite subjects, but I paint everything. I don't have a subject which I would say I'm a marine painter or a flower painter. I paint flowers 3 paintings, and then I'm tired and go to something else. I like to paint everything, whatever touches me at the moment.
So Stella, our connection seems to be working pretty well right now. So why don't we go over to your artwork, and you can show the viewers your beautiful artwork.
Okay, Ethel, those are poppies. Poppies are all over my, so I love to paint them. They are beautiful, and it's miles of this around. The next one, Ethel. Ah, I painted with friends, and I painted on the old paper. I never throw my papers away. Even if they're painted, I wash them, they're cotton, and I paint on the top of them. And this paper had some strokes on that side. I did not know what to do. I couldn't cover them, so curtain came to the rescue. And those are my pears from my garden.
That's pretty.
This is Whidbey Island. This is a very famous, very old farm, and looking towards the Olympic Mountains is a gorgeous view. One of my friends has this painting. Oh, that was a play with my beautiful blues and greens. I just play. That is one of my favorite things to do. I play a lot. I always say that one day I will paint very seriously, but now I'm painting because I cannot sing. That's
Is
and
that
Daniel Smith color.
Do you have a question?
Yes.
You can ask.
Yes. Was that white paint? Do you use a white paint? No?
And the waves, yes, there was white paint on the waves, yes.
Very nice.
Yes, that. Yes, I do have white paint there. I seldom use it, but when I play, I use it. I mix it with colors. I like explore my colors, and I do believe that that is the only way to learn about your colors. I mean, doing swatches is a wonderful thing, but I like to know how they mix. What happened when I mix few colors, and that is what I play with, and I do believe that is the best way to learn about your paints, your brushes, how much water, how much
Thank you.
to know my colors.
I love that.
Ethel? Yeah, storks. Storks gather around my house every year around from 15 to 30th of September before they fly to Africa. Sunflowers always around in the fields, around in the village. Beautiful, beautiful yellow and oranges.
Wow.
And this was in Karlovy Vary in the Czech Republic. A little girl was serving us, and she was so conscientious and so cute. She was working as a server for the summer. Ah, those are flowers I just painted from my head. And this is the break wall on the Black Sea in Varna. And I love those old guys going fishing, just very quick. I love to do figures and just very expressively without too much details. And that was a study. Could you zoom it a little more? Yeah, that was a study about crowds. If you notice, there's no people on the back there. They're only just strokes of color and few brown heads, and it looks like people because people are so worried about figures. They're just blobs of color in strokes. In boats, of course. I love boats. This is an old boat that was somewhere sitting there. So I painted. I love the shape of the boat. It's such gorgeous, beautiful shapes.
How big are your paintings?
My paintings are, most of them are half sheet and full sheet. And lately, because I had a exhibit, the gallery owner wanted me to make some small paintings, but this is half sheet. The flowers were big sheets, and usually I paint half and full sheets. This is my village. The light was exceptional. I just saw was here around the fields. The light is amazing.
Beautiful.
Do you paint flat on the table or upright?
I like to paint upright because I've been a frog in my previous life. I love water. Flat water is where I'm wet, everyone around me is wet. But when I do demos, a lot of the places have overhead mirrors, so that I have to paint flat. And there I am now, camera I have to show. So I paint both ways. But I love to paint vertically because it makes me control the water.
Stella, when you're painting using 3 tubes of blue to do your sky, are you mixing them?
Yes, I mix them mostly on the paper. When I paint, I do not like to over mix because then it becomes kind of flat. I like the colors to show. If you see on this painting, the distant hills, there is red and blue, and there is cobalt and ultramarine and probably alizarin and cerulean, who knows, all those colors. I like them to mix on the paper without them being flat. Because that expresses so much better the aerial perspective. I mix them on the paper mostly.
Are you also using the back of your brush for some of these mark makings? Or is it another
back of my
tool?
brush? No, that is left white of the paper. When I paint, I really move my brush. That is my music I'm making. I always laugh because I cannot sing, but I do believe that every stroke is like the key on the piano or the violin, which I adore. And I moved my brush very much. And when I do the big form, the little things happen in between, and I leave a lot of the whites of the paper. I do, yeah. So that is white of the paper, nothing else.
So Stella, are you using the back of your brush to do some of that by the hay bales? Are you using the back of your brush or just your brush?
Oh, just my brush. But there I see, yes, I have a brush here. Let me see. I have one brush if I find
Or
it.
a credit card or something?
No. I have a beveled brush. I have one bevel. Here it is. I have this. Do you see it? I have this beveled brush, which I
Oh, yes.
like to make marks with it. Yes, that is probably my only tricks. I don't do much tricks. We paint with the brushes and with color, but that is one of my, yes, I do like to do that. And splash. I like to splash. I like to throw water in my paintings. Those are my tricks. And yes, there is the credit card. The best way to use the credit card to scratch.
Awesome.
There's one more picture. Let's just show it. There.
Yeah. That is my onion and my garlic that I grow in my garden. And I put an orange because I needed the red. I love to have red in my paper, in my paintings. And this is an old plate that one of my wonderful old lady friends on Whidbey Island gave it to me. And I love to do naturemort, what is still life, naturemort is Bulgarian, still lives. I love to paint my fruits and from my garden. That is one of the pleasures of mine, and I enjoy that.
Stella, do you have a gallery that represents your work?
I used to have John in Kirkland, Lakeshore Gallery in Kirkland. Georgie was the owner for many years. I exhibited there because Georgie was so good. She would never tell me what to paint, but she will just say, "Bring some paintings." And then I opened my gallery when we had a beautiful Victorian home on Whidbey Island, and when my kids left the house, my 4 kids left the house was much too big and perfect for gallery. So I opened it, I believe, 96. I believe so. And then 2007, we sold the house when we bought this house in Brzica here, and then I closed the gallery, but it was fun. I had a photographer and a textile artist. Yes, and we started a cooperative gallery on the island. Yes, I have beautiful memories.
Stella, do you have time to walk us through a demo?
Yes, sure. I never know what to paint to the last moment. Let's see where I left my piece of paper or
I
And
want to see some skies.
would it interrupt you if we asked you questions during your demo?
yes, absolutely, I can answer. I can answer. You asked me. So the internet been good?
The internet's it's been better than it has been.
Perfect. Okay. So I never know what to say, but for now, I don't believe I will make who knows what painting, but I will show how I paint, how I play. Of course, one of my favorite subjects is to paint the hills around, and I will paint the hills with some poppies in there, because those are beautiful, beautiful fields around. What I like to do, and John, it's really funny because nobody does this, but I do. I mix my pyrrole orange with cerulean for my distant hills. So that is really interesting combination. And of course, those are two semi transparent, but that doesn't bother me much, because I do believe that if I use them with a lot of oh, did you lose me?
No, we have you.
You hear me? If I use them and look at the granulation, I love that. I love that granulation. Many people ask me, where do I start a painting? I never know where I start, however I feel, but when I do distant hills, I like to start from
Ethel, can you show us?
later.
Ethel, can you
Do you see it?
We're putting it back. Spotlight for everyone. There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
Now
it doesn't show very well. It doesn't show very well. That's but I have, yeah, it's not very good. It doesn't show very good. But
I just
there
mixed.
is a lot of. Do you hear it? Do you see it better than I do?
No, we see about the same.
I mixed those colors and they're terrific. Thank you, Stella.
Yeah, that's how I mix them. I let them mix there, and then I do not wait very long to go into the wet paint, to paint on the top of them and to put another hill that is closer. I like to paint. I start on wet paper, but very soon my paper is pretty wet, and I love to them let brownish, reddish into here. A lot of things going on on the paper. Springy.
Oops. Did you lose her? Yeah. There's still one more. She's still there, but video is not up.
Am I there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So For the people watching on Zoom, if you could go to the corner and stop your video, it'll just put an image of you or it'll say your name. But if you stop your streaming of the video, we might be able to get more of Stella. We'll try to figure out whatever we can do, but her connection's pretty slow. Thank you all.
Is it okay now? Do you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so I put a little of blue, yellow sky because it is spring. And of course, I'm never going to leave it totally and I'm putting a little blue, but if you notice, I do it very fast so that it's not going to leave of light in there and white on the hills, on the top of the hills. And then I have a lot, again, I have a red on my brush. I will in I will put them and
So one of Stella's
some
cameras has
just
out.
why am I turned like that?
The other camera, Stella, is out, the one that's on landscape orientation. So this is the third camera.
Third camera? Why should it be third? I have only two.
We didn't change. Of course, we did not change the camera orientation, right? There's actually
No, I haven't. There.
Yeah, it's now showing on portrait mode for some reason.
Yeah, I think it froze. No, it's not.
It's not.
Okay, let's turn it around.
Okay.
But no, not that way though.
The other way around.
Stella, are you using Fabriano paper?
I'm using this is Saunders.
Saunders. Okay.
This is Saunders.
The yellow
No,
using
this
which
is,
yellow are you using? Are you using the Hansa yellow light?
I'm using Hansa. I love Hansa, John. I love Hansa yellow. Oh wait, join video audio later. Okay, so let's see how. Okay,
Yes.
to turn it this way.
So if this doesn't work,
So-
we're having a little bit of issues with the video portion, I'm absolutely going to invite Stella back to do her demo. So if this doesn't work today, Stella will be back to do the video portion because she's absolutely wonderful to watch.
See if that will work now.
Stella, you're not the only person having issues with connections. Caroline just lost her connection in Australia. So it's kind of I guess it's a global.
It's really horrible. That is, I don't understand why.
So maybe we can do right now, because I want to make sure Stella has enough time to do a demo and answer your questions. The verbal part is working really well. So what questions do you have for Stella that we can just have a question and answer session, and then we can do the video at a different time?
I'd like to know the green, what you used for the green.
Stella, which,
I have here sap,
go ahead.
which greens I'm using.
Yes.
Yes.
I have sap green, spring green, and viridian because they have different temperatures. For me, temperature is very important. I see warm and cool everywhere. So on my palette, I always have every color I have in warm and cool. And I also mix it also with yellow. I mix a lot of blue and yellow. And sometimes I mix green with my blues if I want them cooler, or I mix them with a little yellow if I want them warmer. And I also use a lot of red in the green because I always think that there are a lot of colors in green.
Stella, when you were thank you. When you were showing us the hills, what were the colors that you were doing? What colors were you using for that?
For the mix, cerulean and pyrrole orange. And like I said, they both are semi-transparent, but I use them really watery. And I love the sediments, so it shows the atmospheric perspective in the distance. And then on the top, the hills in front of them, I put some greens with blues and with yellows.
Awesome.
Did you use more than one than the other, like more orange than blue or more blue than orange?
Maybe more blue than orange. I just put the orange to warm it up a little, to become a little heathery instead of being only blue.
Very nice.
Stella, how do you determine the
But
size of your paintings?
The size?
Yes, what size paper you're going to use, how big your artwork's going to be.
Oh, I don't know. I love for plein air very much. I
Stella?
use half sheet. Yes. Yes.
Stella, do
Yes.
you still use thumbnails?
Just repeat your question.
Stella, do you still use thumbnail sketches?
Sketches.
The thumbnails before you paint.
A thumbnail sketch.
I'd say no.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. If I sketch is a wonderful thing to do in the studio. I don't have time when I set plein air outside, but if I'm painting plein air while I'm arranging my gear, I really watch and observe everything. But if I'm painting from photographs, in the studio, I absolutely do thumbnail, because thumbnail, I like to catch the form, and I'm not interested in the subject that much. The form, I want the design is very important to me. In solving the design, I do very much on the thumbnail, because on the thumbnail, you do not have room to draw or to make a painting, but you just put the form and you divide your paper. You really solve a rectangular or a square or whatever paper you're using. That's, for me, design is the most important thing.
So when you're painting in plein air, are there certain colors that you use on your palette?
Oh, that I can show you my palette. It will run, of course, but that's my palette. I have from light to dark, and I have from warm to cool. So this is my warm side. This is my cool side. I have a lot of yellows and earth tone. Here's my green. I have running in there. and it's coolest of green. When I paint, I use very much my two yellows, hence the light and hence the medium. Oh, burn orange, the queen aquadon or whatever it is. It's very difficult to say, so I named it Quaqua burn orange, which I love very much. So those are my standard colors. But if and when I paint outside, I don't use that many colors, but I choose the colors for a particular subject. And I all add more colors. I love them all and I use them all, but I use them for a different subject. Will go with my subject, and I a lot. I don't know if I'm normal or not, but I see colors everywhere, and I always wonder how people can see purple shadow of colors that I see
Stella, do you use
everywhere. So I colors.
Stella, do you use masking fluid when
What
you
did you say?
do you use masking fluid when you paint?
Very seldom I do, John, I have to admit, because like I said, I am very impatient. I don't have time to that. It's really time consuming. So I love to leave white of the paper, but yes, I do. I have it and I do use it. I do use the ground sometimes, but like I said, I do not do a lot of trick. I love to paint a lot with the colors and the brush mostly, and don't use a lot of tricks. But yes, I use masking tape sometimes.
Stella, the first time I saw one of your paintings was in the International Watercolor Festival in Costa Rica. And I love your work so much because it's so spontaneous, but at the same time, it's very strong. And I'm so glad that we have this opportunity to see more of your work and even meet you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. So good to see you. I hope one day we will meet in real life. And I love your work.
Thank you.
And yes, I love strong color. I love strong color, and I do believe that my mission is to show that watercolors could be as strong as oils, because the traditional watercolor has to be very pale and very gentle and very watery and whatever. I love strong color and strong painting, and so are yours.
Yes, I love them
Stella,
too.
Yes.
Stella, you have accomplished that, because quite some time looking at a few of your paintings, I was wondering, are those oils? So you did what you wanted to do. I mean, your work is absolutely beautiful, especially that one of the field that but it didn't look like oils.
Thank you. Yeah, I love to paint with strong colors.
Sylvia, I love that rooster.
Yes, Sylvia, she has beautiful.
Thank you.
With
Thank
strong
you.
color, yes.
Yes, I love the strong colors and even to work with a big brush and strong, how do you say, brush strokes.
Very
Brush
pretty.
strokes, yes, I do too. I call them the keys of my piano, since I cannot do music.
So yesterday, Stella, I saw that you have the pyrals, and the pyrals are so bright. And
Oh, I love
it's
it.
beautiful. And then the cornactor, it was fun playing with your colors yesterday as a prelude to having you on today.
I know, I'm sorry I couldn't be there because I drove 8 hours from Thessaloniki to Varna, to Barzica, to my village, and I was absolutely exhausted. So I fell in love because it's 12 o'clock midnight in Bulgaria, so I couldn't wait. I'm sorry.
So I love those flowers behind you. That's a completed piece behind you?
Oh, that is the one that I showed. Yes, it's a full sheet, that painting that was there. Yes, that painting I painted from my head. It doesn't have pencil line or anything. I love to do that with flowers. I just decide on a color and I just put shapes, and then my paintings usually happen of the very end. I had a student who told me that because I make such mess in the beginning when I paint my painting, I drop water and colors and it looks total mess. And I had once to go, but I said, don't worry, guys. I mean, I don't know if it will become painting or not. I have a extended family of paintings that didn't become painting, but I'm playing. And she says, Stella, not only I worry about myself painting, but I worry when I watch you paint also, because I make such mess in the beginning. But I do believe that painting happens at the very end, and that is when, with the less strokes and with the less details, because I start with a big form in the color, in my emotion, and at the end I put the details.
It's beautiful.
So it's scary.
Yes, Gabriel.
I was wondering, which yellow do you like to mix with your cobalt violet?
Oh, with the cobalt, I mean, I love also the Aussie, what is the name, John?
Red gold?
Yes, no, not gold. Gold is way too strong for me. I love Jan's painting, but I hardly use it except for glazing a little here and there. But
Hans yellow light?
yes. The Hanses, and then I have the what is it? Oh gosh, my mind is going away.
Hands yellow, light. Hands yellow,
No.
light, hands yellow, medium.
No,
And then the green
No,
gold.
is it Sienna light? What is it?
Yes.
Quinacridone burnt orange.
Ochre I like to mix also, but I don't use a lot of ochre in raw sienna.
And which yellow do you like to mix with the moon glow?
Oh, I don't like to mix too many things with moon glow, but moon glow has 3 colors in it, so it splits and is beautiful by itself. So I can put a little blue in it, I can put a little red in it to warm it or cool it, but it has already beautiful colors in it.
Thank you for answering. Appreciate you.
Does anybody else have a question for Stella? I'll look on the other side.
Do you wet your paper before you apply the paint?
I usually start wet and dry paper, but since I use a lot of water, very soon my paper is all wet. So I do paint a lot. I do not, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but mostly I start on a dry paper, and very soon my paper.
Thank you.
I put on the back to keep it kind of moist.
Hi, Stella. May I see the portrait of the little baby? behind you.
Oh, yes.
Hi.
Hi, Anna. Yes, this is actually, this is not my painting. This is a friend of mine who painted
Okay.
my little Stella singing a song.
Ah, that's your
This is
little Stella. Wow.
my
Beautiful.
granddaughter Stella singing a Bulgarian song. But it's not
That's beautiful.
it's
Okay.
my friend of mine painted. I do paint portraits, but I haven't painted portraits for a long time. I like to actually draw with just with pastel to draw portraits. I did a lot, and I have a frame somewhere in the house. But I haven't done portraits for a long time. I don't know why. So I'm stuck on nature and people. I think
Yes,
that is
of
my
course.
love.
You have beautiful nature around you, so it's awesome.
Yes, I do. I do.
Thank
Stella,
you.
do you stretch your paper?
No, no, I don't have I don't have time. I don't even put it or put masking tape or anything. I just put it on the board and paint. It doesn't bother me if it's it buckles a little, but usually I paint so fast that it very soon gets wet, and then it doesn't buckle anymore. Because if you paint very slowly and you wet one area, then it buckles, and it's kind of disturbing. But I very soon, my paper is very wet, so it doesn't bother me, the buckles either.
Stella, what weight paper do you like most?
What paper?
What weight?
Oh, yeah.
Hun-
That is a question. I like 140 pounds or 300 grams. And why I like that? Because it's crispier and the paint stays more on the top. The 600 grams or 300 pounds, it soaks the water and the pigment. And I feel like it kind of fades, the colors fade a little more than on the 140 pounds. But everybody, you have to try it, really, because
Yes.
that is what I prefer. And I like in rough paper because, like I said, I don't do tricks, but I like to dry brush. You just touch the little points of the yeah, that is my preference. But everybody has a different preferences. You just have to try it and figure out
Right.
what works the best for you.
Thank you so much.
That was a great question, because I noticed that recently with some 300-pound watercolor paper, it was a little more than 20% dry recently in the weather change, painting outside. And so I started, oh, maybe I'd just go heavier on the paint. But thank you for answering that question.
But Gabrielle, I do believe also it depends where you are. Because if you're in a very dry and hot climate, then it will work because it will keep much longer wet. 140 pounds will dry faster. It depends on many things, but temperature is a factor also.
Stella, do you paint every day?
No.
No.
How could I? Could ever a woman paint every day? I want to ask. I'm always jealous of men when they go to work at 8 o'clock to their studio and paint until 5. I have life, I have house and garden and children and grandchildren, and I had husband. I lost my husband recently, but when I had him too. And you know, a woman has a lot of hats to wear. And I always envy men, and that's why there were so many more men in the last centuries, men painters than women, because it's their job, and we can never go from 8 to 5 and just paint. And the worst part of, I believe, is also that our studios are in our homes. I many times, nevertheless, I always had a wonderful studio at home, but I always wish I have it somewhere else, so that I go and never need to go to the kitchen and to the studio and back. So, but yes, I paint as much as I can, John.
Stella, I wanted to thank you for joining us today. I'd like to arrange with you, we can do it offline another time, for you to come in and do the demo so people can see your wonderful techniques. We will do that. I think we're all living through the times of having issues with our internet, but thank goodness it works, because it's been a phenomenal meeting for us to communicate with each other. Thank you, everybody, for joining Stella and I today. It's much appreciated. Your questions are fantastic. We're going to post on YouTube, etc., so you can actually listen to some of the things that Stella has talked about today, and she will be back. So Stella, thank you very much. Everyone, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stella. I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stella. Let's go
Stella.
paint.
Thank you, Stella.
And enjoy life.
Thank you,
Love you
Stella.
much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
you.
thank you, John.
Bye, Stella.
Happy birthday, John.
Bye, Stelce.
Thanks.